Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the In Between podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Genie. How are all my listeners doing this week? Hopefully, we are thriving, doing the most, living life to the fullest. And if not, well, I hope whatever's got you down has not got you down for long. And you are quickly on your way back up. So let's see what's new in the world. All right, let me give you a quick update on the morning routine. Routines are something that I've talked about off and on the podcast. Routines seems like a great idea, seems like a fabulous idea with someone who has ADHD, but routines are hard to abide by. It's like building a habit, which habits take consistency, this and this, and routines just kind of establish more of a foundation, I feel like. And this is not any kind of educated response to this. This is not something I have heavily researched in terms of psychology, routine, ADHD, executive functioning skills. I'm just talking about the fact that I would like to get up in my mornings and do a few things and feel better about it through the rest of my day. Is that so much to ask for? I mean, just a simple little foundation in my morning. But update, let's see. So I have maintained not drinking coffee. Only chose to do that for personal reasons. I am definitely still drinking caffeine, so don't think I've given up caffeine. I've just switched to tea. And I gotta be honest, I think it's helped, especially with my stomach. And I definitely still drink espresso. Like I'll have like an espresso on the weekend or something like that. But during the week, I have not been drinking coffee. And I really feel like it's been helping. Anxiety a little bit, but really just like stomach feeling uncomfortable, which can also add to your anxiety, so to speak. So still good on that. I have not incorporated a strong conviction at actually doing things in the morning outside of drinking my tea and taking my vitamins. And even then, I don't take them every day. However, I am still washing my face every morning, every night. And that, I will tell you, I've definitely noticed a difference in my skin. I'm not saying I have the cure-all, the fix, the Mr. Fix-It, to the acne, the hormonal acne, if you will. If you've been listening, you know what I'm talking about. But I will say washing your face every morning and every night really does help. I've also been trying to research other types of skincare and things like that. And you know what? I didn't get very far because there is only 1,000 bajillion different skincare products out there, which all claim to be the answer to your skin woes. So I will just go back into a little anxious hole of, overwhelmed by skincare 101, and just hope that I'll resurface in a few weeks and try exploring again. But until then, we will continue to wash our face morning and evening. So where are we with the morning routine? Still haven't quite established it, but we are waking up in the morning consistently. We wake up at least by 7. Every single day, trying to do 6:30, but that is somehow very hard. Part of that is just like going to bed at a reasonable hour. And for the past couple of weeks, I've had this problem with night zoomies. It's a new thing. Not sure if you've heard of it, but I just get insanely hyper in the evening. Like 30 minutes before I'm trying to go to bed, I just get so hyper. I don't know why. I like run around the apartment like a psycho. Really not a psycho. It's more like a little puppy. And I'm like, Stan, I've got the night zoomies. And he's just like, what? Who have I married? Good Lord. But, I do believe if I can go to bed early, I'll be able to wake up early and then maybe establish more to-do tasks in my morning routine. So for all my listeners who are struggling with their routines, whether it's in the morning, whether it's at night, whether it's just the whole freaking day, how do you do a day? How to adult? I have hope for you. There's hope for me. There's hope for us. We will figure it out. You just keep trying. And you keep telling yourself you can. And one of these days, you might be a 6 a.m.er who gets up, works out, does all the things, writes a manifesto, takes their dog for a 5-mile walk, and cooks a 7-course breakfast. And if you get to that point, call me, because I like to know how you got there, because nothing I'm doing seems to work. Okay. So enough about morning routines, at least lack thereof. I'm sure you were thinking, ooh, great, update, accountability, let's talk. And then I'm like, nothing to see here, folks. But that's okay. Other news, Ted Lasso came back. Anybody watch Ted Lasso? It's on the Apple TV network. Jason Sudeikis, he is a football coach or a college football coach from America that gets a job at being a football coach in England. And as we all know, football in England, Europe, is not the same thing as football in America. It's what we call soccer. I wonder why that is. Like, why do we call football football and we call football soccer? When really, soccer does make sense to be called football. I feel like there's some history there. I feel like there's just like some silly person in history who was like, football, I heard about it in Europe. Let's just create a new sport. And it made no sense because there's not a lot of football in football, American football. Have I lost you? Have I said football too much? Are we still following? Anyways, I'm digressing here. Let's talk about Ted Lasso. Well, not talk about it because I'm not going to give it away, but I am just so freaking happy. The show is back. One of the best TV shows ever. So funny. Such good acting. I love the characters. It makes you feel good. It makes you think. And you root for the underdog because that's essentially what Ted Lasso is the underdog. But really happy it's back. I don't know. I feel like a lot of good TV is about to come back. So that just started. Mrs. Maisel is about to come back in April. Shadow and Bone comes back. Actually, I think it just started this week. So I probably need to go back and watch that. Great show on Netflix as well. Love that fantasy shit. Gets me going. And that's literally all she wrote. The Last of Us just ended. Oh, by the way, I guess we're going into pop culture corner. Didn't segue that well enough, but hopefully you're following. Did not watch The Last of Us. It was not so much that it was too gory for me. This is that zombie show on HBO that's based off a video game. Apparently a super amazing video game. Never played it. But it's not that it was too gory. It's just that it was too damn sad. Like, very sad. And no offense, I don't want to spend my Sunday evenings when I already have the Sunday scaries prepping me for the week ahead. I don't want to cry and then get introspective and just think about life and think about how sad I am and just, damn, is there any happiness in the show? But then laugh at myself asking the question, is there happiness in a zombie apocalypse show? They can't all be Zombieland. Definitely can't be Zombieland. But I hear it's amazing. I really did not watch the show. I watched a few episodes and I was like, not for me. This is pretty sad. Everyone's dying and I don't know. I also never really got into the zombie fad because in my head I was like, where can it go? If we're not going to talk about a cure, then it's just going to be the same story over and over and over again, just survival. And some people love that. But for me, I'm kind of like, I need a little bit more depth, a little bit more. I do need some more sunshine. So that's my thoughts on that. But I do like the concept of The Last of Us where the zombie apocalypse came from mushrooms, cordyceps mushrooms, which are a real thing, believe it or not, and them overtaking the human body as a host. Fun fact, cordyceps can actually do that to insects. So Google cordyceps and ants. I don't know all the history. I don't know all the science behind it. My husband actually read a book about mushrooms in mycology, so he knows more about this than I do. He was actually the person that educated me on this. So when we were watching the show, it was like, oh my gosh, those are those mushrooms. We're so nerdy. But it's something about, I don't know, it infects the bugs on the plants and they die. But no reason to cause alarm. I doubt they can overtake human hosts. I mean, they've been around for God knows how many years. So at this point, if they haven't got us, I think we're okay, everybody. But just be careful. And while I'm talking about TV, pop culture, interests, things, what's new in Liz's world, has anybody watched Next Level Chef? It is a cooking reality TV competition series. Now, let me preface this. I know I've mentioned this before. Your girl's not a big reality TV person. I've mentioned this before as well. Not because I don't think I'd like it. I think I would. I know my limits. And I can only have so many interests. Right now I have about 237. I can barely handle that. Can't handle one more. So that's that. No hate, no shade to reality TV. Of course, I don't understand it to some extent. The Bachelor, Bachelorette, I've got thoughts on that, especially from a societal point of view. So we'll talk about that another day. And I also don't really watch competition series, only because there's a million of them, and I only have so much time with those 237 things I'm doing. Again, no hate, no shade. I've heard the British Bake Off is fabulous, and maybe one of these days I will watch it. But again, 237 interests. However, I say all of this shit talking about reality TV and competition shows to say that Stan and I have recently started watching Next Level Chef. And it is, like I said, a cooking reality show. It has Gordon Ramsay, and it has 2 other professional chefs on the show as coaches, or as mentors, as judges. All the contestants are split up into teams per each chef, and they are coaching them, mentoring them throughout each competition, but they are also judging their dishes at the end because somebody has to always be eliminated, right? Anywho, I'm sure those listening who are into these kind of shows are like, oh my gosh, Liz, like, where have you been sleeping under a rock? Next Level Chef's amazing. British Bake Off, maybe you're still steaming over the fact that I haven't watched that. But I just want to sit here and tell you, oh my God, me and Stan are hooked, line, and sinker to Next Level Chef. I am obsessed with this show. How obsessed are we? Let's just say our kitchen game has gone up a couple of notches. We have this new thing where we're like, how are we going to next level this, chef? Oh, and that's another thing. We keep calling each other chef in the kitchen. We haven't become so obnoxious with it that we have head chef, sous chef. I can only think that when that happens, maybe some problems are going to start to arise in our kitchen household. Well, because we all know that I'm the head chef, and I know Stan would argue, but we're not going to give him that. And you know what? Pause on this conversation. This is just a great moment to say, hey, everybody, in your relationships, there are times when you're the sous, and there are times when you're the head chef or the sous chef. That's okay. But for today's episode, your girl's always the head chef. Let's be real. But anyways, it's been a lot of fun because it's kind of motivated us to be a little bit more creative in the kitchen. Now, don't get me wrong. We are not grabbing random ass ingredients and we're like, oh, rice vinegar. What are we going to make with this? Like, when I say creative, doesn't mean that our knowledge of cooking is just extravagant and has only grown tenfold. All I'm saying is we were inspired by one dish in the show and we made it. Which was rasta pasta. It's a Caribbean dish. To me, it was like a take on kind of like a Cajun chicken pasta, but with more of a jerk chicken seasoning, hence the Caribbean. Anyways, hopefully I did not just butcher that because I have no earthly idea of any cultural background of that dish other than it looked amazing on the show, and so we made our version of it, and it was pretty delicious. Pretty good if I say so myself. But if you're looking for a new show and you want to be inspired in the kitchen, check out Next Level Chef. Again, I don't watch these kind of shows. I only know Gordon Ramsay's personality stereotype from the media, and I was expecting kind of a raging asshole. And I'll be completely honest, he really wasn't a raging asshole. He was kind of funny. Of course, there was these funny sidebar comments from all 3 judges throughout the competition because they have to have entertainment value. Like, there'll be one-liners where I'm like, they were told to say that. That was silly. You know, just like a ridiculous, like, oh, God, like just very dramatic, right? But no asshole comments. One other reason I think the show is amazing is all the contestants are good people. Now, granted, we're on season 2, so I'm not sure if anybody's a jerk yet. But everybody on season 1, like, they just had good personalities. They were happy to be there. They were supportive, even though it was a competition show. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't trying to sabotage each other necessarily. And the reason I think that is because the competitors, they were either social media chefs, they were home chefs, which I'm kind of like, how did you find them? I'm assuming they were kind of like social media chefs in a way, but maybe they just don't have a huge following. And then professional chefs. And the professional chefs that were on seemed to be more like they owned their own catering companies, own meal prep companies, things like that. I'm not downplaying their accomplishment or their skill. I'm just saying it's not chefs that work in, you know, Michelin star restaurants. It's your everyday kind of person, but they're still fabulous and super talented and will outcook me any day of the week for the rest of my life, 1000%. But with that said, I feel like the people are just cooler, more easy to get along with, and I don't really know what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying not to be rude, but I wasn't trying to be rude to begin with. So all I'm trying to say is really cool people, really good people, and it's nice to watch a competition show where it's not just full of drama and hatred. It's like full of support and creativity. So enough of me rambling about Next Level Chef. Go watch it and then watch your relationship only bloom from your cooking skills together. And in other news of being influenced, if you're on social media and you identify as a woman, chances are you have seen the Stanley Cup all over social media. It is the big 40-ounce tumblers that have a handle and a straw. They come in pretty colors. Stanley Cup, it's like Stanley Thermos. I mean, they've been around since my grandparents were younger. I mean, it's not a new brand, but they are making a resurgence in the youth, people. Because I still consider myself the youth, and no one can tell me that otherwise. But anyways, consider me influenced. Everyone has these mugs. Everyone has these 40-ounce water cups. And personally, I like the water bottles that tell you the timestamps on when you need to drink what by. I need a bossy water bottle. I need to be told when to drink water. So I was a little nervous, a little apprehensive switching to the Stanley Cup because I'm like, oh my God, it's on me to drink my water. I don't have anything telling me where I need to drink what measure by what time. Have I told you guys I have anxiety? But seriously, get this Stanley Cup from a girlfriend. She just happened to have an extra because let me tell you, everyone has these. Everyone has them in multiple colors. I couldn't understand the appeal. Well, I finally started using it, and I've had this thing for like 2 weeks, okay? I started using it yesterday. I washed the bottle with the timestamps, and I said, all right, I'm going to put you up for a little while. I'm gonna be a big girl, and I'm going to drink this water like a grown-up without being told I have to drink what by when. Well, let me tell you something. I have been influenced. This water bottle, this water cup, this water mug, whatever you want to call it, is so freaking amazing. And even for my listeners who don't identify as a woman, you need one too. I'm going to get Stan one for his birthday. Let me tell you something. I don't know what it is. Is it the pretty color? Is it the way the handle sits in your hand? The way you hold it? It fits in your cup holders in your car. It's 40 ounces, so it's like a good amount of water, just a little bit more than the normal 32. And the straw, the water goes down, the liquid goes down so easy. It's a beautiful experience drinking out of this Stanley mug, this Stanley Tervis. So if I haven't sold you yet, go look at all the pretty colors, and that might get you too. So from one influenced person to another, I am here for the Stanley Cup. I am here for the emotional water bottle. And I am here for leveling up that I do not need timestamps to drink my water. Amen. All right, enough about that. So if you've been keeping up with the podcast, you knew I had a photo shoot last week. And let me tell you something. It was so freaking fun. I love my photographer, Laura. She's been on the podcast a few times. She was also my wedding photographer. We did an episode on wedding to-dos, to-nots, wedding 101, and then also being a freelance photographer, a content creator, getting into that space as a creative. And for anybody who is looking to be a photographer professionally, totally check out that episode. I will link it in the show notes as a reminder. But anywho, Laura and I are really good friends, and we established a friendship even after the wedding. And I was like, hey, I want to do a personal branding shoot. So she was my photographer, and y'all, it was so much fun. Wait till you see these pictures. I mean, even some of them I was like, damn, who is that? Is that me? That's a boss ass babe. Whoa. If I could spend my Fridays getting dolled up, doing a photo shoot, feeling fabulous, I absolutely would. It is a confidence booster, one. It makes you feel fabulous. And I got some great shots, even got some headshots. All this rambling aside, I cannot wait for y'all to see. It's going to be great. It's going to level up Liz's branding, going to level up the in-between. We're going to put together a website. We're going to start putting out more content with my face because I know you want to see the face behind the voice, or I guess really the face in front of the voice because it'd be like the voice behind the face. Okay, you know what? Let's just stop there. Don't know what I'm saying or where I was going in that direction, but back to the point. Photo shoot, excellent. Photo shoot, fun. Photo shoot, fabulous. And I just can't wait for y'all to see the pics. So, leveling up, cheers to that. And speaking of leveling up, since I got my makeup done professionally, because if I was going to spend the money on a professional shoot, then I'm going to make sure my face can match, right? Afterward, I was like, well, damn, my face looks amazing. My hair looks amazing. Let's make some content for TikTok because we know what we're doing there, right? This 32-year-old millennial is just really solid on TikTok. So anywho, I joke about this because TikTok, everything is content. I am never going to be that person. I envy the people that are to a degree. I mean, I appreciate it, but I can't. I can't always have my phone in my hand doing all the things. However, when I looked good, I was like, let me do this thing called batching content. And I say this thing because I was like, what does batch content mean? All of you listening may go, Liz, you idiot. You know what batching content means. But really, it just means filming a lot of content all at once and using it to spread out and post throughout the week, month, whatever fits the algorithm, which Like you think I know what that means. Anyways, I'm rambling. I made this video about everything is content, being a millennial on TikTok and just not knowing what's going on, what to do. I have this little shtick that I started, like the very, very, very first TikTok I ever posted, which I'm now making myself sound like I'm this TikToker. And let me tell you, I'm far from that. Maybe one day. I'm just trying to consistently post a video once a week. That's where we're at. Okay. But this is funny. So hear me out. Regardless of all the TikTok chatter about banning this or that, TikTok is a fun place just to kind of explore your creativity. I try to be a little bit more funny, a little inspirational, two complete polar opposite ends of the spectrum. But hey, whatever rocks your boat, whatever floats your boat, this is what I want. This is what you do. So I made this video about content, and I called myself the geriatric millennial because that was like the very first video I ever posted. I was talking about supplements and vitamins, and what do you get? You just keep taking more of these, right? And I'm sure some of my wellness friends are listening to this like shaking their head. They're like, Liz, we told you, you get it from food. And that's a whole other topic for another episode that we will get to one day. But anyways, that was the shtick, making fun of supplements, vitamins as you get older. So I'm trying to bring back geriatric millennial because one, it seems to get some views, I'm not going to lie, but two, it's funny. And it's even funnier because technically I am not a geriatric millennial. I think I'm kind of smack dab in the middle of millennials. I think a geriatric millennial is more like your early 40s, late 30s. But at this point, since I'm now early 30s, it's probably more early 40s. Anyways, I don't know the numbers. I don't know the ages exactly, but I'm in the middle. However, because I feel so fish out of water on TikTok, because listen to that sentence, I feel like a fish out of water on TikTok. The fact that I said that should just be reason enough. I play with the term geriatric millennial because I feel like I don't belong and I should not be on there. So I started the videos just like, this is Liz from the podcast, aka geriatric millennial. Well, don't get me wrong. This video did not pop off or anything. I don't want you to go to my TikTok and be like, wow, 300 views, Liz. You really are going places. Although I would really appreciate your follow. So please go on TikTok and follow me at the In Between Podcast. But anyways, I'm trying to be more active. Okay. And by being active means you respond to comments. And I just have to share this funny ass comment someone left. And this is like the funny joy of TikTok. Well, there's a lot of joy in TikTok. There's a lot of bad parts of TikTok, probably more bad parts than good parts. I have no idea. My little niche corner of TikTok is pretty great. So this person commented, what's a geriatric millennial? What does that mean? I'm 48. That's hilarious to me because I don't even think you're a millennial, dude. I think you're the next generation. However, welcome to TikTok. Geriatric millennial is going places, and maybe that is what takes me to the top. Not my heart, not my desire to help inspire people and help them know their worth. It is my running shtick of geriatric millennial. And if that's my legacy, well, America. So go follow me on TikTok and be entertained once a week with one video. I'm just kidding. I really am going to try to do more videos. We're aiming for 2. And maybe one of these days in the next few years, we'll get to 3 a week. Anywho. I'm also PMSing, which is not fun. Sorry if that's a TMI. I don't really care. You know, I want to create a podcast where like I can talk about stuff like that. Okay, well, that was very dramatic to talk specifically about PMSing. But I mean like the TMIs, like the life stuff, like the things that we're all going through. Obviously, mental health, I'm very much an open book with that. But, you know, eventually we're going to have topics of, I don't know, wellness, supplements, healthy sex lives, mental health disorders, which we kind of already do, but I'd love to kind of deep dive more into other different things like that. Relationships, online dating, just more life stuff. So talking about life stuff, life things we all go through, I want to bring that more to the pod. And again, I'm not saying I don't, but I'm letting you know that Elizabeth is evolving. And I'm trying to develop the podcast a little bit more than just here's your affirmation for the week. Although it's always going to have that, trust me, because I am who I am. And that is at the crux of my being, my sense of self, right? But I also want to be your friend. I want this to be a safe space. I want to eventually involve everybody and have more in-betweens that y'all submit, and we talk about those, whether it's a voicemail, whether it's a question of the week, whether it's a question of the month, a topic of the month, either way, more collaboration. So all that said and done, I'm PMSing, and I can't stop eating candy. I would like to know How do you curb a candy problem? I thought I would get rid of it come December, after Christmas, because that's typically when it ramps up. I am a sucker for holiday candy. And this year I just haven't stopped. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with candy here and there. But as somebody who is trying to get their skin right with this hormonal acne and also, get ready for the summer, feeling good, I'm also really just trying to build a little bit muscle and work on that form, so to speak, which candy doesn't really matter because I will eat candy and work out and not give a shit. Okay? But more so for my skin. That's what I'm talking about. So PMSing, I ate half a thing of Peeps last night and I'm grossed out by myself. So if you're feeling low, if you're feeling like you're not doing the best, just know that I ate almost a whole thing of Peeps last night and I don't even want to think about how processed and gross all of that is. All right? And let's just say they were blue Peeps. So gross. Blue dye. But you know what? I drank a lot of water with my Stanley Cup. So balance. It's called balance. Balance. We need it in our lives. And, I think this might be a good time to transition to this week's message because, hello, this week's in between. Well, I gave you all the mini in betweens, life updates right then and there at the front, but the big life in between that I'd like to talk about this week, just briefly, is stepping out of your comfort zone. I'm sure you've seen things on the internet, posts, memes, inspirational posts, signs that say, get out of your comfort zone, magic can happen. Staying in your comfort zone is going to keep you right where you are. It's never going to propel you forward. And I used to read those and get a little miffed by it. Like, well, how do you know what my comfort zone is? Because again, I take everything too personal, too literal, and I try to identify with everything, which is a problem, I know. But I'm more so talking about like these kind of posts like, well, I'm comfortable and good things are happening. Blah, 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 blah. Basically, I'm just trying to say I never grasped what that truly meant, that concept of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. So one of the first things I learned when I got out of my depression was embracing like the unknown, okay? Not feeling like I had to have a plan, not feeling like I had to have it all figured out. And I'm sure a lot of people can identify with that, can understand that struggle, and understand that, hey, letting go of that need to control is a very big deal. So that's kind of how it all started, of embracing the unknown, being comfortable with the unknown, being comfortable with I can't plan everything, and let's just see where this goes. So that has now since evolved into leaning into the uncomfortable. So one of my mantras since launching this podcast was jump, just jump, and the net will appear. Dive in. That doesn't necessarily mean take every opportunity, but it's just if you're given an opportunity, don't be afraid. Just do it. Start. Dive in. Don't let imposter syndrome make you second guess or overthink something. So it was a lot easier said than done in the beginning, but over the course of the past year, I have really embraced that. And I feel like I've been doing a really good job with it. Now, that's not to say that I don't have my low points. Y'all know December, January was a little rough for me. I was kind of in a dark spot, a little low, if you will. Okay, just had a change a few perspectives and change where I was establishing my worth. Listen to it a few episodes ago. But leaning into the uncomfortable, what I mean by that is when you're presented with a situation, you're presented with a choice. And especially if that choice, this decision is putting you out of your comfort zone. It's not that you can't do it, but you're insecure by it. You have imposter syndrome. Like ultimately, I think it's imposter syndrome. Well, I don't know if I can do that. Well, I don't have the experience for that. Well, I don't know if I have that information. I don't know if I'm the person for this. I don't know if I can have that conversation. I don't know. I'm scared. What if they say no? What if they don't react the right way? Here's the thing. When you're presented something that pushes you out of your comfort zone, my opinion of that is the universe wants you to lean into that. It wants you to push yourself out of your comfort zone because, listen, magic happens when you push yourself out of your comfort zone. Think about it from this way. You could be the thing, the person, the force that is in between you and happiness, in between you and the relationship that you want, in between you and the new job that you want. And I'm going to just take a moment to call out my ladies, my lovers, my women. A lot of times we have this problem where we feel insecure or we feel less than, and we're not going to put ourselves out there because we play it safe, right? No, not anymore. We are going to incorporate delusional confidence, which I am not saying drive down the road with your eyes blindfolded. That is not at all what I'm talking about, obviously. But this unabashed confidence of I can do it because you can. Even if someone told you couldn't, oh, you'll never be able to get a job there. Oh, you'll never be able to move cross country. Oh, you'll never be able to have kids later in life. I'm getting to the point where I'm like, well, who told me I couldn't? Me? Because most of the time it's me. I tell myself I can't. I stump myself. My imposter syndrome gets the best of me and makes me insecure and doesn't give me that confidence, that energy to go after it. So especially if it's just you being the person telling you no. But again, anybody else telling you no, screw them. Because ultimately, no one can tell you no. No one can tell you you can't do something. Only you have the power to do that. So if you're the narrative saying that, we got to stop that. Lean in to the uncomfortable. Now, I know that's easier said than done, and that's why I want to talk about this today, to encourage you. It is going to be scary the first few times. And you know what? Let's be real. You might fail once or twice. You may not get the job. You may not get the date. You put yourself out there and ask for it, but you tried. And before you realize it, and even you may not even have to get down the road several times to realize it. It could happen the first time, but the thing is, the more you do it, you will start to realize life is happening for you. Things are happening for you. And even if it's negative or it's bad, it's going to turn out better in the end. Maybe you are worried about a conversation that you need to have with somebody, a friend, a family member, a lover. But you leaning into that, having that conversation, addressing whatever it is that needs to be addressed, no matter how uncomfortable or how scary or insecure you are about it, you are going to end up okay afterward. Because you're either going to find a compromise, find a middle ground, find a solution, or you're going to have your answer that this person, it wasn't meant to be. You're better off moving along. You're better off not putting all your eggs in that friendship basket. I've just noticed this theme a lot in my life recently. I've also noticed it a lot in some of my friends' lives. So I don't know if there's some astrological thing going along right now in the universe where everyone is just leaning into the uncomfortable or the uncomfortable keeps presenting itself. But I am sitting here as your self-appointed life coach of the In-Between podcast to say lean in. Lean in. It is scary. It is unnerving. It is alone. But let me tell you something. The few things that I have leaned in the past couple of weeks to a month, whether or not an opportunity presented itself, whether or not something came from it in actuality, I felt powerful. I felt good. I put myself out there. I reached out to this person. I, just being a random person in this universe with however many billion other people, I said, well, why not me? And I put myself out there. No matter what the outcome is, no matter what response I get, I feel the growth because I leaned in, trusted that, you know what? I may not have all the bells and whistles. I may not have this website yet. I may not have this or this, but I know what I'm about. I know how great I am. And I'm going to send this letter, this message, and hope that they write back and we can collaborate and get together. Who knows? And even if they don't, I'm going to push myself and put myself out there. And then also, you never know, then I've created a template for next time reaching out to people and trying to collaborate and connect. And let me tell you, in this scenario, it worked. This letter, this message that I wrote to this person, within an hour of them reading it, I had a response. So it made an impact. I wish I could take everybody's insecurities away. I mean, I wish I could take my own away. That's part of life. It is what it is. Our imposter syndrome, I've accepted that she's never going to go away, that version of me. But I've also started to think about that piece of me as a propeller to move forward. If I'm nervous or insecure and I'm thinking I'm less than, all right, that's an insecurity. Let's work on that. Let's push ourselves outside of that. And the more you do it, the easier it will get. You just have to trust me on that. I spent several years in a depression, okay? Sometimes it's years, sometimes it's months, weeks, days, sometimes it's hours. Hey, PMSing, we're moody. It is what it is. But trust me, the more you do it, the more you trust yourself, believe in yourself, the better the outcome. I promise. All right? So this week, we're going to lean into the uncomfortable. We're also going to watch Next Level Chef, and we're going to drink out of our Stanley Cup, and we are going to be the best versions of ourselves, everybody. Hello. Oh, and before I forget, super important, next week's episode, I have a very, very special guest. I've been talking about this career pivot idea episode for a couple of months now, and it's finally coming out. And trust me, y'all don't want to miss this. We are talking about pivoting your career when you make the decision to pivot and the mental aspect behind that, what leads you to make that decision through the lens of this person's story, with an emphasis and specific focus on leaving teaching and getting into corporate America, because this person made that transition. I know I have a lot of teacher listeners and a lot of those who are looking to make that transition. So this episode is for you. And also it's for anybody who is challenged with the thought of, I want more. This isn't working for me. I want something different out of my career. So it is inspirational. It talks about the real raw emotions and discomfort around a decision like that, and also the guilt that you may carry to this day with a decision like that, but ultimately why it is better and best to always listen to you and to bet on you and believe in you. So it's a very inspirational episode. I loved it. I think you're going to love it. So look out for that for next week. And if I haven't interested you enough in my social media woes today, you better go follow me. You can follow me on TikTok at the In Between Podcast. Shout out to the geriatric millennial. You'll see me there. And you can find me on Instagram. My podcast Instagram is at in.betweenpod, pod as in podcast. And then my personal is at Elizabeth Cheney _. So go follow me there. I'd appreciate it. Share this podcast with your friends, your family, I'm trying to think of any other people other than friends and family, your coworkers, strangers. For all I know, put a sign on your car. I'd love that. But seriously, I really appreciate all the support that I get. Right now, how this podcast grows is word of mouth. I'm not really putting any money behind it, marketing, because, well, your girl is strapped for cash and going in 15 different directions, but also low-key waiting for those personal branding shots. But rambling aside, I really appreciate when people do share the podcast and they can get the word out there. So if you're loving it, send it to a friend, send it to an aunt, a grandma, a mom, a sister, a cousin, a friend. I'm going to keep hitting that. A friend. And you know what to do. You can rate, follow, subscribe on all the platforms that you listen to your podcasts. So give your girl some love. I love to hear from you. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you on an all-new episode next Wednesday on the In Between Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Cheney. Take care and have a wonderful, fabulous week, everybody. Bye.